Now it's time for today's perspective, and my guest today on the programme is a distinguished and versatile conductor, widely recognised for his expertise in contemporary and French music. His career spans numerous acclaimed projects for orchestras, ensembles and stage productions as well. This year, in celebration of the 100th anniversary of Pierre Boulez's birth, Franck Ollu is leading Les Siècles in a series of concerts across Europe, with performances here in Paris, in Munich, in Berlin and Bucharest. Boulez himself died back in 2016. Well, first of all, let's hear and watch a quick snippet of his work. Here an opera of Pascal du Sapin.
Il bimbo entra in un sogno di paradiso dove tutto è bianco. Non ci saranno più volti, né capelli, né età, né nonni. Ci saranno canoni finiti, vorracci.
Beautiful to have a bit of class on the programme today and hear the music there. Franck Ollu, thanks very much for coming in and talking to us. Let's talk first of all about your latest project, if you like. For viewers who don't know him, tell us who Pierre Boulez was.
Well, good morning. Pierre Boulez was a conductor, composer, and also someone who was involved in the culture, the musical culture, very much, especially in France, but also in the world. And he has been conducting many famous orchestras, and he's been creating the ensembles contemporains, which is an ensemble dedicated to new music, and also did the IRCAM, which was an institute for research on electronic music. And a part of it, he was also a great composer. He's the follower of the French Ravel, Debussy, Messiaen, and we say after them, this is Pierre Boulez.
And you met him as well. I mean, what was he like as a man? Obviously, you liked him. I assume you liked him. That's why you're paying tribute to him.
Well, I met him a few times, actually, when I was assistant conductor in the ensemble contemporain during 2 years when I started conducting, and also in Germany, especially at his place in Baden-Baden, where he was living, because I've been working with him and preparing orchestras for him when he was still alive.
And obviously someone that you feel it's important to keep his spirit alive, if you like, by doing what you're doing.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, he wrote some very important works, which we can call classical of the 20th century, and from the second half of the 20th century, and especially the piece that we are doing with Les Siècles, which is called Pli selon Pli, is a very strong and large piece for orchestra.
Let's talk about you a little bit as well. You were born in La Rochelle in the west of France. You've had an incredible career collaborating with various contemporary modern ensembles as well. Where did your passion, if you like, for classical music come from?
It's hard to say. It came, when I grew up, and I started to play the horn when I was living in La Rochelle, and after, when I was 18, I moved to Paris and studied there. And then I was interested in modern art and in modern music, and at that time it was quite more radical, I would say, than it is now. And peu à peu, I built up my knowledge and my career, and then I moved to Germany, to Frankfurt, where I became the horn player of the Ensemble Modern, which is dedicated to new music, and then I started my career doing operas and orchestras.
I mean, it's interesting that you started on the French horn. It's quite a difficult musical instrument to play, isn't it?
Yes, it is, but it's also, I mean, Isaac Salonen was a horn player, so there are a few conductors who were horn players. The horn has got a spot, especially a place in the middle of the orchestras, and the horn players, they can read mostly all the keys because they're used to transpose music. So this is, I would say, it's good for the brain, and also it's a good, I would say, good education for becoming a conductor, probably.
And now you're back here in Paris. You've had a series of different collaborations with composers such as Georges Benjamin, Pascal du Sapin. We heard a piece of his work just a moment ago. Eventually transitioned from becoming that horn player to being a conductor. How were those years important to you, and how did you sort of manage that shift, if you like, from being a player to being a conductor?
Well, it happened in the Ensemble Modern, where, as I say, where I was the horn player, and then I started there. And actually, I met, we had famous conductors coming at that time. And Peter Eötvös, who's an Hungarian who passed away a few months ago, was very important to me because he gave me my first lessons. And then I had these possibilities to be confronted to very good musicians, and then it was a chance in a way.
And how difficult is it to make that transition? Because presumably to become a conductor, you can't just obviously have knowledge of the French horn, you've got to have knowledge of all the different instruments and how they all fit and work together.
Well, I mean, this is you have to study. I also study composition a little bit in Paris as well, so you have to have knowledge. And to say how difficult it was, actually it was in a way, because when you are in your own orchestra and you change from the back or the middle, the back of the orchestra in front of the orchestra, and to have to conduct your colleagues, this is not an easy thing to do. So, well, it was a challenge, actually.
Yeah. And what is it about being a conductor? I mean, what is the job, if you like? Because it's obviously an awful lot more than just waving a baton, isn't it?
Well, it's you have to conduct. Conduct is also listening. You have to listen to the people, and you have to. It's like sailing a boat, I would say. So sometimes the wind is on the back or is on the front. So you have to deal with the situation as it is. Sometimes you need to be strong and charismatic, and sometimes you also to let it go and to listen what you become, what it comes. And it's also this balance. I found it very interesting, actually.
And presumably it's about getting, you know, the passion, if you like, out of your players. I mean, how do you manage to do that? How do you enthuse people night after night to do their very best? Well,
this is a very good question. You need to be convinced about what you do, and you have to like the music that you conduct, which is not always, I would say, the case. But you have to make sure that what you do is what you want to do, the composer you want to conduct. And also because I conduct living composers, it's also a chance because you meet them, so you have got also this confrontation. It's wonderful to do sometimes works for the first time, and also to get the person which is close to you and to whom you can discuss about the piece, and also maybe the piece is never achieved when you do it for the first time. So what you get from the composer is also wonderful.
And what's the best moment for you in your career? I mean, having had such a long career where you've done different things and transformed yourself, if you like, into different areas, what's the moment of your career that has kind of stood out as this is it, I've made it now?
I don't know. I think this is the future, which should be the moment that I will be happy to be in. So it's always having challenge and always having new work, and also have the chance to conduct great works. I mean, from living composers, I would say. Yeah.
And presumably there's also a bit about, you know, trying to keep classical music alive. I mean, it perhaps has receded a little bit in the general public's mind of late, but how do you ensure that it lives on and will live on for many years to come?
Well, it's a difficult question that I guess, you know, with the modern music of today will be the classical music tomorrow. So, of course, what will stay, we don't really know. But it is necessary for classical music, and especially for opera houses, to have new works, because this is their future. And we see orchestras will not only play Schumann, Brahms, and whatever. They will not last. I mean, of course, there are exceptions like the Wiener Philharmoniker, who is doing mostly 95% of the repertoire is only classical music. But for all orchestra generally, I think it's absolutely fundamental to have new works and to go forward and to give commissions to young composers.
Yeah, and reinventing it as well. Well, it's great to have you with us on the programme today. Thank you very much for coming in and talking to us. Franck Ollu, leading Les Siècles in that series of concerts across Europe. So look it up. You've already performed here in Paris, I know, but Paris, Munich, Berlin and Bucharest. Thanks very much for being with us on the programme today. Thanks.